Thanks for your time. I've got the Emirates Lions head coach, Ivan van Rooyen. So guys, same story. We'll start with 4 here and then we'll move on to our journals that are here. So 4 questions strictly and then we move on. Who wants to go? Jan.
Thank you, Lisa. Just a quick question before I ask Ivan. Can you give us a recording because we get cut off once you get in the room? So
Yep. Yeah, you'll get it, Jan.
Ivan, lots of good things to come out of that, but I suppose the loss is always disappointing. What do you work on? What do you take forward?
Yeah, thanks, Jan. Let's start with the positive. I think there was, in patches, there was some unbelievable stuff happening on attack and defense, and toughness and character and fight back. What to work on and fix. I think the small disciplines to stay in the moment and understand the need of that moment. Small disciplines in detail. And I think that last 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I think we lost set piece, our ball, and through a little bit of ill discipline, we gave them penalties, and eventually they ended up in our 22, and they're probably the best team in the competition in the opponent's 22.
Nathan. Nathan. Okay, Ross?
Sure, I'll jump in. How's it, guys? How's it, Ivan? A little bit disappointing, obviously, to head overseas now off the back of the loss, but very tough 3 matches over there. What can you sort of take out of this game into the next few games against, I think it's Ospreys, Cardiff, and Edinburgh? And what do you think you guys can sort of build on over there from your learnings from last season's early trip overseas?
Yeah, thanks, Ross. I think the biggest learning from our first trip overseas last year was you're probably going to play against 10 plus internationals, so their game management discipline, game management understanding is top notch. So you can't afford to make an area like we made, left hand scrum just inside the 50, lose the balls get 3 points, swing of momentum, that kind of thing. So a lot more clinical in terms of game management, especially against those 3 teams. Ospreys has got a handful of British and Irish Lions in their spine. Cardiff is a tough team. Edinburgh will threaten you with speed of play and a massive attacking game as well. So pretty much that last 20-25 minutes is the area that we really need to be squeaky clean in the next 3 weeks.
Right, we'll take, who's that? Leighton, are you still there, or can we call it here?
Can I jump on for one more?
Yeah, that's the last one, Ross, go.
Thanks. Ivan, from what you've seen from your team, obviously, you lost a few big players over the off-season, and the guys who've stepped in so far, including some of the youngsters, were you sort of happy with the outing they had against the Bulls, and do you think there's a lot to build on there? Yeah,
thanks, Ross. I think Zander showed a couple of good touches. If I just go through the new guys, Ron Smith, and I don't want to talk on his hand. He'll probably be a little bit disappointed about the first one. I already had a chat with him, so I'm excited to see him bouncing back. Boobos, we all know Boobos, but I think for the first game back, not being here for 2-3 years, I think he brings a bit of calmness and steadiness for us there at the back. Unfortunately, we had a couple of cramps the last 15 minutes, so we wanted to put Gianni on a lot sooner, but we couldn't. We had to sit and wait. But again, Gianni showed 1 or 2 touches. I think he can bring a little bit of a difference in the game for us at certain stages. So yes, a lot to get excited about, but I think collectively as a team, just got to be a little bit more disciplined in the disciplines.
All right, thanks guys very much. Thanks online. We'll stop it there. Brendan?
Yeah, Evan, just do you think at the end of the day that the Bulls will probably look more street smart than you guys then, especially those last 3?
I think I agree with you, Brendan. I think when they get the squeeze on you, they make it a little bit difficult to get out of that squeeze, and they force you to get out of your game plan and structure that you want to play. Make silly errors, and then they just camping you off. And like I said, the moment they get into your 22, they've showed the last 3 years in South Africa and in URC last season they're very tough once they get into your 22. So I think with stages we managed to kind of pin them in their back 30, and we saw the result there. But the moment we took the foot off the pedal, which started with set piece, that last 25 minutes, I think we allowed them into the game, and they just got momentum.
You're running more, but obviously the try in the first half, they changed a bit to stop in that second half. But was it maybe something you could have used a bit more?
I think it is obviously an area that we really worked hard in the preseason. So first off, scoring more than tried the first game and mauled a couple of great mauls is positive for us. I think also the variation between the maul and, I always want to say, dummy maul and play from there is something that you can catch teams unaware of. Sometimes the maul feel like a scrum, the decision could almost be 50-50. So once we felt that, I don't want to say the decisions went against us, but once we lost that 50-50 battle, I think the guys felt that instead of taking the risk there, maybe try something else. But thank you, I think the maul improved quite drastically.
And just in terms of decision making, when you were down here in the second half, a couple of times went for the sideline. Obviously, you're chasing the winner, I understand that, but they managed to keep that scoreboard pressure and keep it over the whole time. Was there maybe a thought to maybe just getting some scoreboard pressure back? Big
lesson for us. We will always back the decision making on the field, but we felt that we had to go there as well. So that's a good discussion with the leaders on the field in terms of momentum. Like you say, chance it once and it doesn't come off. One stage it could have been 15-15 or 18 or different pressure, 15 minutes to go, different possible outcome. Obviously, they get their heads up if you go to corner twice and they stop it, or you make an error from your side. So I think that's a good lesson for us there. For I almost want to say for the guys on the field in that moment, but I think we could have been a little bit better there.
Right, thanks Bruno. Walter?
Ivan, daar is toch baie positiefs wat mense uit die wedstryd uit kan vat. Veral in die eerste helft het die Leeu's met baie hoë intensiteit gespeel, iets wat mense nie miskien voorheen gesien het van hulle nie. So dis iets goeds om te sien en mense sou wou hoop dat hulle die hele wedstryd so sou speel en hopelik die res van die seisoen, want dit is 'n goeie positiewe. Die verdediging was ook uitstekend en dit was ook asof baie van die duikslae het hulle 2-2 ingegaan op die aanvaller. Is dit iets wat julle beplan het in die wedstryd?
Ek wil amper sê dankie Walter. Dis obviously 'n area wat ons gevoel het ons is 'n bietjie agter. Voorseisoen laat dit toe om jou fiksheid op te tel en fiksheid en verdediging loop hand aan hand. 'n Fikse speler kan opstaan en weer duik. Ek dink ek gaan nie sit en vir jou sê ons beplan double hits uit en uit nie, maar as 'n enkel single running, soos as ek nou maar die Engels kan gebruik op die afkom, is dit 'n geleentheid vir 'n double hit. En ek dink daar was goeies van dit gewees. Dit was meer die geval van amper in ons 50 wat die verskil was. Ons het hulle met ons verdediging met tye regtig onder goeie druk gesit. So tempo, as jy praat van tempo, dis een van die voordele wat ons hier behoof altyd. So ons het hard gewerk aan om goeie tempo te kan speel, en of dit nou met of sonder die bal is, ons wil graag met goeie tempo speel. En dit sal die plan wees vir die seisoen om met goeie tempo te speel.
Die enigste negatiewe ding in die tweede helfte was heelwat ongedwonge foute en 'n paar strafskoppe wat die momentum baie erg geswaai.
Ja, verseker. En soos ek sê, ons het die vaste faset begin verloor. Dan in die oomblik voel die ouens hulle met 'n kans vat wat onnodig is, dan bal op die grond, hulle skop om 40 meter verder deur 3 punte vir hulle, skop jy weer af. So nee, hier foute in die sin van baie van hulle het die momentum verander en baie van hulle het in punte ingedraai. Maar dis gelukkig iets wat ons aan kan werk en 'n goeie leser uit kan leer.
Okay. And generally, how you felt about how your forwards handled the game?
Forwards?
Yeah.
I think it's probably one of the better forward performances in terms of repeated effort from our side. Like I said, I think the first 50 minutes our set piece really functioned well. With the new scrums and breakfoots and all of that, I think it will take a game or two for everyone to settle in and get ascendancy or understand that. But the last 25 minutes were quite disappointing scrum-wise for us, and then one or two mauls worked well. We just didn't capitalise on that. But I think, I don't want to say a young pack, but the starting pack was young. If you compare that to different teams, I think there's a lot of growth that happened in pre-season, and we're excited about the forward pack.
And then Darren Hendricks was leading from the beginning of the game and was kept on for that long. Any particular reason maybe was not?
Who?
Jordan.
Jordan. Like I said, we wanted to. We obviously everyone could see that it was limping a little bit. Fortunately, it's only a contusion, so it's a lummy in Afrikaans. So he should be fine. Boobers were cramping a little at a stage. Edward was cramping. Kiwan was cramping, so we couldn't really get Gianni on for that. The moment we felt that we could afford to get him on, we took Jordan off. Ideally, 2-3 games later, that could have been a little bit earlier, just to take the risk of him getting injured out.
Ivan, how do you then, we last season we spoke at length about the Lions issues against SA teams. It is the first game of the season now, but it's again a case of where it's another SA Dogs, another SA loss. At what point are you going to be able to address your team's shortcomings against the SA opponents?
I think last year at stages we felt out-muscled, they were more physical, outplayed. I don't think that was the case tonight. I think the game management and pressure from our side wasn't handled good enough. The easy answer comes with experience. Everyone don't have all their time to fix it, so you can't give Kiwan or Inko, you can't give them 5 years of experience with it. So it's, like I said, it's the disciplines of understanding in the moment what it is. Good clarity from our side as a coaching staff, good expectation, and the players' responsibility to understand that and execute it under pressure.
We'll take Liam.
No.
Okay, Brendan, let's finish with
I
you.
was just going to say, you're going now obviously overseas now. Just your thoughts, are you looking to change up anything, or is there anything you need to work on ahead of that? It should still be reasonably dry in those fields.
Yeah, it should be. I think the second and third games are Cardiff and Edinburgh is on a 4G, so that's I won't say new, but it's different than Emirates Airline Park. That game, you play a little bit different there. We experienced it last year. The scrum's a little bit higher. The game tends to be a little bit quicker. The kicking game is a little bit different because it bounces different there. Ospreys, like I said, Anscombe's, Alan Jones, all those guys are heavy experience. So good lessons learned against Scarlets, especially last year. That was our first Welsh team that we played against. But I also think that Ospreys here, Cardiff here, even if it was here, seeing and feeling what they do and how they play, I think there's a lot of learning that we got out of that game. So we're excited to go there to Wales for 2 weeks and then to Edinburgh.
Just obviously a bit more optimism. Last year was unknown, it was a bit unknown, etc. But now a lot more optimism.
Yeah, very different. Didn't know what to expect against Scarlets, if I'm really honest with you. And they basically destroyed us with the short runner and the back runner. Defensively, it was like, not new, but they just executed it so well. So obviously, the following week we did 1,000 of that scenarios, and we managed to fix it rather quickly. So at least the unknown is not there. We've travelled to Wales. We've got to stay in the same hotel as we stayed against Scarlets, that kind of thing. So the unknown factors out. I think the surprise factor will rather be on our side than on their side.
Thank you guys. Thank you colleagues. Thanks so much for your time.